From the bottom, we out here getting it. Don't know what a limit is. Only surround yourself with people you plan to finish with. Consistency the key, unlock the door to your dreams. Prepare, plan, and execute, complete, and then repeat.
What up? Back with another episode of From the Bottom podcast. As always, we got your host Fitz. We got Ty.
What it do?
We got Shalisha.
Hello.
We got the Joker. We got Tati.
Wait, what? What did you call me? You mean like the evil villain Joker?
Nah.
He might have been talking about me. I don't know.
Nah, I'm talking about Tati.
Oh, why she the Joker?
Why y'all look like y'all just had a gin? Nah, never mind.
This is what?
I mean, I personally don't
almost
think
slipped up.
Joker. Yeah, don't say that.
His backstory.
I'll text it to
But
you.
I wish.
And I think he just had a really rough background, and that led to him doing what he did. But I think, he, in his own mind, he is.
Wait, what are we talking about?
You talking about the Joker?
You gonna call me the Joker. I'm gonna spit some real about the Joker. I saw the Joker movie, and I feel for the dude. It's like, you went through a lot of messed up stuff, and people just did you dirty. And the clown thing, you were already working as a clown with the side business thing, and it just, I don't know. I can't hate on the Joker. I don't think I look like him. I don't think I look. Do I look? Please.
It's just a joke.
Do I look like the Joker? Please let us know in the comment section below.
Let us know. Not the new Joker, the old one. Oh wait, maybe the Penguin. The Penguin.
You getting too deep into it now.
I was your first comment.
Hey, nice. Go ahead. You gotta do it on the actual YouTube video though. You gotta go in and make it official. How y'all been? How y'all been outside of messing up Gotham? How y'all been?
Wow, I've been
This
all
guy,
right.
bro.
I need to rewatch the series.
I've never been to Gotham, bro, so I don't remember messing nothing up. But I've been chilling out here in old D-Town,
Okay.
relaxing. That's right. We out here.
D-Town, Detroit,
Town.
Dallas.
Old Lone Star.
bro. They don't call that no D-Town. Stop it.
Old Lone Star. That's
How you been, Ty?
Stop.
What?
We gonna leave you over
Stop,
there.
bro.
How you been, Ty?
My dog said,
Tati, I love you. I love you.
How you been?
my dog said D-Town, bro.
Got the signature hoodie on. How you been?
This guy. I've been good, bro. Can't complain. Just going through the motions. I literally chill. Bro, listen, bro.
Go through the motions every week.
I be chilling, bro. I swear, I be chilling. I just be chilling by myself, man. I just be going through the normal stuff.
If this was a movie, it would be like the beginning credits and then skip right to the end credits. It's like, where's the movie
I be
at?
chilling, bro. I be chilling.
Where was Denzel?
Bro, I be chilling.
We make it too difficult. Let's help each other. We could support each other in this. How are the dogs?
Say that.
I just be chilling. Oh, the dogs are great. They phenomenal. They just be living the dream.
Now we got dogs in the movie. Ain't just to the end.
I'm good at how you been. That's opening up the conversation.
No. I've been good, bro. I've been good. Just the same as last week. Making moves. Just going with the flow.
That was about them moves.
This guy.
People want to hear.
I'm finna transition out of my job now. I'm about to leave my job probably in a couple weeks or so I can focus more on the business side and transition over into that. And about to graduate 15 weeks, so just getting prepared for all that and just the next moves in life. So just kind of cruising until then.
Feel it. What about you, Shalisha?
Good. It was my last day at my job today. We're one of them. So it was very exciting. It was a great last day. It was great. Sayonara.
Why was it great?
Because I just I was telling Tati before the podcast, we're keeping our peace and check. You wasn't saying nothing. Anyway, it was mine and Tati's conversation. You was eavesdropping on, just ear hustling.
Didn't say nothing.
But
ear hustling. I never heard that one before.
Oh yeah, he be ear hustling like a mug.
That's some Vegas stuff.
Hashtag ear hustling.
No, it was good. I felt it was starting to get very toxic. and it would just put me in a bad mood. Like we're maintaining the peace. So it was good to get that negativity lifted off of me. Still moving forward with the real estate for Texas, these courses. It's a lot of reading.
I just want to say big ups to you for making that move, because a lot of people will stay in the same position, even if it is miserable for them because of the paycheck or something else. So definitely, big ups that you were able to get it together and say, I'll make this move because I'm not happy, because my happiness comes first. So definitely.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, so all good over here.
Say that I didn't get that speech when I decided to transition out of
was that the time you threw a chair at somebody?
Where is that coming from?
What was that?
I don't know. I remember him telling a story about he was at one of his jobs and he quit. He threw a chair at somebody and walked out or something.
I remember that.
I'm just asking if that was the time. I don't know.
Vegas. I didn't even know her.
Oh, but shoot, look.
What in the world?
I was just asking.
Nah.
Because if you left and you threw a chair at somebody, your piece wasn't that much in check anyway. I'm just saying.
Nah, I stayed after that chair got thrown. It was whatever.
I remember that.
I'm done.
That wasn't yeah. I've had many.
Wait, if he didn't know Tati, how did you know him if he didn't know Tati yet?
I think you met Tyree before you met me, right?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of you guys when that happened, besides Shalisha.
He told me about it. He told me about it.
That's why I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
He said, I remember that.
But anyways, I didn't get that speech when I decided to transition into being self-employed and entrepreneurship.
I gave you that speech.
From who?
From you.
From me.
I supported you.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Come to me talking about big ups.
It's a flag on the play. Don't try to take my glory because you salty. Like,
I'm not salty. I'm not taking
you salty.
You salty.
You salty to the mug.
I'm
addressing her. There was never a clear statement of, this is sapping away at my energy and my good juju.
Yes, it was. We met for lunch at a Mexican restaurant and I quit during the day. We went, remember I was working at that place during the summertime. We met at the restaurant and I told you when I went back, I was going to quit that same day. And I did that.
He called me.
She remember. Wow.
The Mexican restaurant.
We went to Three Margarita. No, we went to.
No, it was Three
Cactus
Margaritas.
Flower. We went to Cactus Flower.
There was no cactus. There was Three Margaritas.
No, we went to Cactus Flower.
I don't remember. I don't know.
See?
Look, there's only two of them things up in there. I don't know which one it was.
He told me though. He called me.
Yeah. See, Ty, remember?
Okay.
I didn't get no big ups. I didn't get none of that.
No, I said
you didn't give me no big ups. Tati gave me big ups. So what you in your feelings for?
I'm not in my feelings.
No, I think I did say something positive. I said, this is a big move.
You don't even remember it happening.
So how you gonna tell me that do you remember it happening?
Yes.
Well, I remember saying positive things because that's just what I do.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There you have it.
She got a point there though. She got that.
There you have it. We are basing this off of a memory that she does not remember. So you can only imagine. You can only imagine, right? But anyways, my week been good outside of not getting, speeches and stuff like that.
How has your week been?
My week's been great, Phenomenal, just moving along in the coaching program that I'm in. Finishing up the website, helping people with real estate still, managing these deals. I started a new marketing program for my real estate business. So nice. Instead of me doing the marketing myself, I'm going to keep doing the social media, adding value that way, doing the posts, but I'm just going to pay somebody, but I'm paying this company or whatever through the real estate thing to just run some Facebook ads and get me some leads and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and let that off my plate so I can open up some time and start getting these real estate leads and hopefully making more money, helping more people. So that's how I've been.
That way.
We also got our first hater this week. I know I sent you guys that in the text message, and
we did.
There was some mixed responses. What was I know, and we don't need any cussing. Don't
What you gotta put me under the bus for?
I'm not putting you under the bus.
No one said you.
No, we not throwing nobody
they
under
know,
the bus.
They know who be cussing. There's only one person that be cussing.
We're not throwing nobody under the bus.
Let me go reread this post because there we go.
Yeah, I don't forgot too.
Pretty much they were saying that we were some fake motivational, inspirational people or something.
That's what I don't get though. But if you're giving out positivity and motivation, how is it fake? Come on now, like at least make sense with the hate. Like
time for celebration, I felt like, because we weren't getting any comments, and then we got that comment. And so, it's not always what you want to hear, what you want to see, but I think that it's important for people when they do put themselves out there and people comment and stuff like that, that you really understand why you're doing what you're doing it for, your own intentions. And I think that there's a larger problem just in general when you try to branch out and do something new, which is you get that reception back, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but a lot of people face bad reception from people they care about. We didn't even know this dude, but there are people that they face bad reception from a mom, a dad, a brother, a sister, whatever. So I don't know about you guys, but have you been through that before where you wanted to, venture out and start a business, or I don't know, do something new and you ran into that? Tati?
I just want to say we did get that negative comment, but we got 2 more positive ones. And I just want to make sure we stay on the good path. I think we should really focus on the good. And there's going to be bad along the way. We just have to prove to people that we're authentic and we're not just doing this for money, because there are a lot of people out there that just get on behind a camera and start talking about positivity this and motivation that, and they're doing it for the profit of the income and not really because they care about what they're saying. So I think it's just about proving in the world. I think it's about
you did not need to put your finger up like that.
Wow. I think that we're authentic and we're really in this to bring positivity into the world. So I think that's the main thing. We just got, we can't focus too much on that. For every negative comment we have at this point, we have many more positive.
We got 2 comments.
So, there's another person on a previous video. I think their name was Tammy, and that's my mom.
That's my mama, bro.
I was trying to give it away. Okay.
Right. Tammy.
Okay.
Shout out to moms for leaving the positive comment
in the comments of the video. I was trying to keep it low key, but you done gave it away. I didn't do that. At
least she watches.
Right.
Hey, thanks for the positive feedback to outweigh that negative.
It wasn't a negative comment. I don't know if it was a negative comment though, because technically our goal is really not to quote unquote be inspirational. True. We just telling our stories and what we doing and how we're coming from the bottom. So he must have felt inspired to say y'all trying to be inspirational, but that's not really the goal. So it was good and bad at the same time.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a good point.
And that's true. And I also think, I was thinking this week, what makes us different? And I think that what makes us different is that we all have a different story. We all know each other. We all want better for ourselves. And I think the reason that I was really motivated to even start this podcast was just to leave those breadcrumbs like we always talk about, so that, we don't just make videos once we make it. We show everybody, like the beginning and where we are. Like I look at this podcast more of like a weekly update on how we're doing and, what we're learning, and just sharing that with people for free, and, helping people that may not have the courage or the motivation or whatever you want to call it to take that step. So that's originally why I wanted to, step out and do this podcast. But now I think it's going more into the realm of, like you were saying, not inspirational, but just, like you never know what this could turn into. We're talking about this one day, but someday people are actually going to be searching for us. You know, like, I don't know if people are actually searching for us yet, but one day when they search for us, they're going to see these earlier videos. And then that's when all of this is going to pay off, you know? And I think a lot of people don't understand that when they are starting their business or their goals, is usually the stuff that people don't see that pays off, because people are going to look at us when we started and be like, okay, they are real, you know, like they are real. Look at where they were, look at where they are now, look at their story. So that's what I'm excited for. It's like, I'm looking at like a year from now, you know, like the work we're putting in is really going to pay off, I think.
A lot of these groups that are doing these podcasts too, they're not in our age range. A lot of these podcasts that are on this sort of spectrum are hosted by older groups of people. That's something I notice a lot as well. A lot of these podcasts, motivational or otherwise, are just older groups of people. And there are young people doing podcasts, but it's not like on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Yeah, people who already made it making podcasts. So
yeah,
it's kind of hard to take advice from them, and they already made it. So
that's what makes us special. And I don't even and that's what I'm saying is, like, I think a practical perspective from people that are actually in the grind, you know, it makes a little bit of a difference. And yeah, when we do make it to bigger and better and all that stuff, we're going to have different advice, different perspectives and stuff like that. But we can always look at where we are now and say, how can we give people our best right now and not wait until we've already made it and then come back and say, do this, this, and this. It can be like, we're doing this, and then you actually get to see the results.
Right.
So it's more believable, you know? It's like ordering food from a restaurant. Like, you order that and let me taste some before I do it. I feel like we're taste testing right now. I don't know. Y'all got anything before we get into what we today?
I also think it builds, I think for me, like professionally and personally, like it helps me be more patient and committed to the grind, even when even when it seems too far, but it's not too far. So being patient, being committed, winning the day, attacking the podcast every week, like just continue to be consistent, has really built that resilience for me, especially in other parts of my life, as far as job goes and school and stuff like that. Going with the flow, man. For real. That's how it is.
Y'all got to call you out on going with the flow. You ain't going.
Here we go.
You ain't just going with the flow, because when I hit you up about this podcast, it wasn't even like a 10-minute conversation. It was just like, got this podcast idea. Are you down? It's like, let's do it. And then we just started doing it. And it's like, we haven't missed a week. This is the 25th video. So for 25 weeks straight, we've done the podcast. So it's crazy looking back at it, because, you know, it all starts with the conversation, and there wasn't no long drawn out planning process or anything. We just turned on a camera, you went and got a mic, all that stuff. And then we just started up, and now it's morphed into, we got Shalisha on here, we got Tati on here. We're just, in that sense, going with the flow. But I think for a lot of people, just understand that you just have to get going and then work with what you have. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be, you know, this great person that already knows everything. Just get it going and give yourself time to not have everything looking good or sounding right and all this other stuff. Like, you know, when we first started, there was a different background. There was different, you know, text, all of that stuff, but it's been perfected over time, and it's only going to get better. And we have, you know, a panel that I feel like really has chemistry and that really wants to take it to the next level. So just get going, you know, like if you don't get anything from this episode, just get going, like start now, like right now, like if you're listening to this, turn the podcast off right now and go do what you want to do and come listen to the rest afterwards. But get started right now, like at this exact moment, put something into action.
But isn't that going with the flow though?
let me hold on. Let me elaborate on that. So when I think of going with the flow, I'm controlling what I can control. So let's say, like for Amazon, they have warehouses where people work day and night, overnight. That's kind of like how life is for me right now. I'm working and I have these things working for me. I'm still locked in mentally and I'm still controlling what I can control. but I'm not getting upset if this don't work out because I still got this working over here. So I got time to fix all that up because this is still working and it's still elevating me. So then I can get this going, and then that's going to elevate me because it's fixed. So I'm just enjoying the roller coaster.
I feel it.
I'm not being lazy.
The way that I've always heard of like go with the flow, it's more so like other people controlling what you're doing and then you're kind of just going with it. That's what I had thought about. But it sounds like what you're doing is more so you're creating your environment and then you're flowing within what you've created, but not necessarily like other people creating that environment and then you kind of just going with the flow, but more so creating your own system and following that system.
Well, when I think of flow, I think of actual water, because it's like the way it's like a stream or a river, like the water is just flowing. And the water, you know, there might be rocks, there might be waterfalls, there might be a log in the river, but the water finds a way forward and just keeps pushing. And
I like that.
no matter what obstacles or whatever is in the path of this river or the water in this river, I mean, it just doesn't stop. It just flows, and then it, you know, it gets to the ocean, and then it flows in the ocean, and then all that happens and it evaporates, and then it rains, and then it ends up on top of a mountain, and then the whole thing starts again. You know, you just kind of go with the water cycle, you know, you're just flowing. Yep,
exactly.
Yeah, I could see it that way too. I think I'm thinking Ty put the river there. You know, that's what I'm thinking. He put the river there, and it's like he's flowing because he put the river there. So he's like, he knows where he's going. Like he's not just flowing on this river, and it's like I don't have a clear idea of if this is in the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean. I feel like he's like, nah, I'm getting to the Pacific Ocean. You know how to, and then figuring out how to get there. But yeah, I definitely can see, you know, both perspectives, and I think going with the flow is an interesting way of looking at life. I've heard people use it as an excuse too much of not getting what they want. Like, you know, like I see some people that are very passive say, you know what, I want this, but I'm just kind of going with the flow. Like I'm not really speaking out on what I want. I'm just kind of letting them do their own thing, and I'm just kind of riding with it. So I've seen it work out as people using it as a reason to not go after what they want, like what they want.
Okay.
But yeah, what do you think, Shalisha? You've been quiet.
I'm listening to these great perspectives.
We want to hear your great perspective.
I can agree with both.
Do you go with the flow?
I mean, typically, it depends.
On what?
If it's the first version, no. We've already been through the like to have control type of thing. But once you start setting things in motion and they kind of just flow on their own, you're just riding the waves.
What does that mean though, riding the waves?
You're riding your return that you're getting from that flow you done put in there. They're just letting it. I don't know how to explain it. Like Finding Nemo when they was riding the waves.
But you said you wanted control. So how do you give up enough control to actually ride the wave?
I wouldn't say I'm giving up control because I'm in control of the wave that I choose to ride. So if I got on that wave, it's because I chose to get on it.
And you control when you get off of it?
Absolutely.
You control where it goes?
I mean, yeah, as far as obstacles coming in your way, there may be obstacles, but at the end of the day, your destination is up to you.
So if you control where that wave is going, why did you have that wave take you to the obstacle?
Ooh.
I mean, sometimes obstacles they're just there. Some things are out of our control that can add conflict or can add problems to whatever you have going on. So try our best to not add any extra obstacles. And if obstacles just happen to come, then we still ride over them.
So just riding that wave, and then when the obstacles come, you just go right over them.
Right, like Tati said, the water don't stop flowing because there's a rock in the middle of it.
Unless there's some beavers and they create a dam.
It still don't keep flowing. The beaver's gonna start flowing too. Like you just flow right through it.
Dam sometimes.
I mean, but if your flow is strong enough, it can break the dam. So, and I wasn't saying that in a curse word way neither.
The only flow that could really break a dam like that is J. Cole's. Straight up.
Hey, I'm done. Here they go. His two biggest fans.
With an M on your head, you Luigi brother now.
Come on now.
I'm a fan too, but I like his old school music.
A bit more umph to
What do you mean old school?
You know,
Like his back in the day music. I don't know.
But his elevation from then into now is
She not ready for that.
dang, we're gonna talk about this later.
Not on that wave. She on Finding Nemo. Go watch Finding Nemo. What? This for Cole.
Got
fans.
it.
You got Finding Nemo?
Yes, on DVD.
Wow.
DVD.
Yes, I have 3 boxes of DVDs.
Who does DVDs now?
what's wrong with
Me.
DVDs?
Right, I go to the store to buy DVDs.
Streaming
I got
services?
Netflix, I got Hulu, I had HBO Max, but I wasn't really watching it, so I let it
You
go.
get the dollar candy in those bins too. Yeah,
Dollar
wow.
candy and what bins? Yes, if it's some candy I like, absolutely. What? I don't care if it's $1 or $5. If I want it, I'm gonna get it.
We're gonna talk about
100%.
waves. Why don't we talk about Surf's Up? I feel like there were more waves in that movie than there were in
There was.
There
was.
Come out of nowhere, bro.
There was way more waves. But you gotta love how in Finding Nemo they just wrote that wave. Like you just gotta love the whole scene. It was great.
Yes.
Fins up.
All right, so let's get into our new segment for the week.
I love Tati.
Let's go. So we doing a new segment this week. This segment is called This Week I Should Have Challenged Myself More. How? So we're all gonna go around and we're each gonna say at least one thing that we could have challenged ourselves more on. And we're going to on air give ourselves a way to challenge ourselves in the coming week that we didn't do in this previous week. So I'll go first, okay? Just to kick it off. So this past week, I could have challenged myself more by being focused. All right, I could have challenged myself more by being focused. I wrote some goals down, and I just kept pushing those goals and pushing them back and pushing them back and pushing them back. And by the end of the week, I wasn't really where I wanted to be. So, and I actually did something with this coaching program I'm in right now where I wrote down, and I think I sent it to you, the goal setting and the
Send it to use. I hate you, bro.
That's a Colorado thing. That's okay.
the goal setting. I did my goals, and then I did it was this interesting thing where I wrote what I wanted to say on my tombstone, and that's like your vision. And so you pretty much, what you do is you write what you want people to remember you by on your tombstone, or what they will remember you by. So you kind of have to get into other people's mind and be like, how have I treated this person, or how have I carried myself so that, you know, people will remember me this way. Again, it's not about what you think you should be remembered by. It's what you think other people would remember you by. So you really have to think about your actions and how you come off to other people and what you're doing in your life, so that if you didn't have any say in it, you couldn't talk to them or nothing, somebody was just like, how should you remember Robert? I had to write that on the tombstone, like with my name and everything. And it was like, how I would like to be remembered is like caring, stubborn, always laughing, joking, innovator, all these things. But it really gets you thinking about your vision and what you want, because once you know how you want to be remembered, then you can start making short-term goals, mid-term goals, and then long-term goals to reach that larger vision of how you can actually be remembered in the way that you want to be remembered. So I highly advise y'all to do that. And, you know, it's eye-opening, because you really get to see what you want your life to mean. So, you know, I just really think that I need to get focused and start setting more goals and creating ways to get to those goals. And the only way I'm going to do that is to remain focused. So this coming week, what I'm going to do to get focused is I'm going to create a schedule this weekend. Believe it or not, oh, there goes the camera. Okay. Believe it or not, I actually don't have a schedule. Like I just kind of wake up and do what I do, but I'm going to get more disciplined and get that schedule in so that I have everything timed out. I put stuff on a schedule, but I don't follow it. So I'm going to get more focused and follow that schedule. And we'll talk about it next week. Maybe we could make this a weekly thing. Go ahead.
Okay. One way I could improve for next week is by being more disciplined. I do have a schedule and I kind of follow it, but where I mess up the most is the wake up part. It's hard for me to get out of bed sometimes. And
girl,
I know if I just went to bed sooner, that it would be easier for me to wake up earlier. And so my goal is to be more disciplined with my bedtime so that my wake up time and my start time shouldn't be as much of an issue.
All right. Who we got?
Awesome. Awesome.
Let's hear you, Shalisha.
I'll go. Okay. I need to be more disciplined in my time management. And like Robert was saying, coming up with like an actual schedule. I've done like rough drafts of schedules, but they're not working. So like my time is just all over the place. And I find myself feeling like very overwhelmed at times because I'm used to having a schedule. I used to wake up at 5 o'clock every day, even if I was tired. And now it just doesn't happen. It doesn't matter if I go to bed
what
early.
do you think specifically last week it was? What do you think last week you specifically could have challenged yourself on, like an activity or something that you would like to start doing next week?
Well, I want to come up with the schedule so I can have more time to do more coursework to get it done sooner. But every time, even if like I do the coursework that I set out for myself, sometimes I'm like, okay, we'll do a little bit more. Like that'll be my thought process. But then like it comes to the time to do the little bit more and it's just like, but you did what you said you were going to do. So don't do the little bit more. But I'm trying to challenge myself to get past that. So when I say that I'm going to do a little bit more, just stick to it. I guess being more disciplined as well.
So how will you challenge yourself so that next week when we have this conversation, you'll be like, I was more disciplined. You know what I mean?
Right. So I'm just going to, if I say I'm going to do more, or if I put it on the schedule that I'm going to do a little bit more, I'm going to actually do it. I'm going to come up with a definite schedule that works and work on my time management. So next week I could be like, I did that and I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
All right. All right, Ty.
You guys are just funny. Man, what? Something. What was the question again? Say the question again.
Something that you could have challenged yourself more on in the past week that you're going to challenge yourself more on in this coming week.
Probably school. So usually, I wish I could be like Shalisha and not do that little bit more, but usually what I do is at the start of the quarter, I do about 5 weeks of work, like for asynchronous work and papers and stuff like that. So something I want to do better on is being more efficient. Once I do all that work, put that time into something else. That's been the goal, but kind of been slacking a little bit just because, just kind of cruising and chilling and resting up and stuff like that. But just be more disciplined, more efficient, put that into something else. So I got 2 weeks left of this quarter, and I'm pretty much done with everything for right now. But over the break, I'm going to start making moves towards the business, jobs, stuff like that. The next move after graduation. But for the next quarter, do all my work, but then put all that energy into the business and my next moves for the next couple of years.
Okay. So what's something specific that, next Friday we record the podcast, we get on and we say, did you challenge yourself? What's the specific thing that we can know that you challenge yourself? Like, what's that specific thing that we can ask about to hold you accountable?
Probably if I'm still at my job or not. I'm planning on quitting my job so I can focus more on finishing this quarter, which I'm like I said, I'm pretty much done. I'm cruising, but I'm leaving my job to focus more on doing the business and then anything else after that.
So what's the challenge? Is the challenge leaving your job, or is the challenge?
Yeah, the challenge is leaving, because I like what I do and I'm very good at what I do. I'm probably the best. Humbly, I'm probably one of the best people that they'll ever have and that they have right now. And I know if I leave, it's gonna put a big dent in everything else. It's not really
you just did that. You just missed the opportunity to use a Drake line. Best I ever had. Best I ever had. Come on now. You're slipping.
Listen.
It's either Drake or J. Cole.
I'm not really. Hey, it's too easy for me now.
I'm saying, what happened to Kendrick?
Like, I know
that's that guy. I almost had a curse word.
You redeemed yourself. You redeemed it.
Don't ignore me then.
Right, well, I'm not girl.
All right, so we get on next Friday and we say, Ty, did you quit? Yeah, that's the challenge. So the challenge. So is the challenge quitting, or is the challenge trying to find a way to quit? Like,
the challenge is me being disciplined. Because if I don't quit my job, then I don't want to do what I set out to do. And the problem is not the people that work there. It's more of the interactions I've had with people and the imprint I had left on people, because I have met so many people through their animals and stuff like that. We've had conversations and changed a lot of people's lives, believe it or not, through interaction with their animals. So just trying to push myself towards that and be okay with it. So I really left my market. I haven't been here like super long, but I done moved up, but I feel like I already hit the roof of what I can do. And I feel like it's time for me to leave so I can transition into another part of my life. I can't keep hanging on, because then I'm not going to be able to enter the new season that I'm supposed to be in coming soon. So the challenge is being disciplined and wanting enough. If I didn't quit my job next week, y'all got to kick me off the podcast. No, I'm just
You'll be fired.
We'll definitely find a way to hold everyone accountable. So we got me being more focused. We got Shalisha being more disciplined. Tati being more disciplined, following the schedule. Ty being more disciplined, quitting his job so that he can transition on to the next step in his life. Y'all heard it here first. This is about progress. And that's why we about to get into this topic for this week.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. We about to get into this topic for this week. And I think this is a very important topic. And it's one that we've covered before, but we haven't known that we covered it. Like, we talk about it a lot, but we haven't really gone in depth about it. So that's why I felt like it was really important. So I think that this topic is important because a lot of people are held back by trying to figure out the right and wrong thing to do. And I think that, when we're talking about the right and wrong thing to do, it has to be contextualized, right? So whether we're talking about a relationship, whether we're talking about a job like Ty's talking about, I think right and wrong oftentimes gets confused with decision making. So there is no right and wrong when it comes to Ty quitting that job. It's just, does he want to do it or not? And if he wants to do it enough. But some people will say, well, I'm such a good person, I can't do them like that. So they'll use morality to hold themselves back and say, oh, well, I'm just a kind-hearted person, I can't do them like that. So now I got to hold my dreams up. And I see people do this so much where they use morality and right and wrong as an excuse to stay the same, instead of looking at themselves and saying, it's wrong for me to remain the same. So I want to know from you guys, like, one, what does morality mean to you? And how do you use that to guide your decisions in life?
I think for me, I put myself first. So like I had those thoughts of like, oh man, they're gonna suffer without me, but that's not my problem. They could have been more prepared and cross-trained all the staff members. I'm a new person and I cross-trained on pretty much almost everything in the building. I'm pretty much a manager, but just without the title and the pay. So for me, it's always thinking about myself, but also paying respect to those people. Because obviously this was a time that I was happy to be with them. We built a relationship, those type of things. But definitely thinking about, okay, they're here, but I'm trying to move up because they're still going to be here while I'm going this way. Just put myself first, man. And not thinking that way because it handicaps you. Like it will literally make you stop chasing all your dreams because you're thinking about, well, these people are so good to me, but it's like they're good to you because you're doing something for them. If you aren't doing nothing for them, they might not be good to you. Like my manager hit me up yesterday and was like, did I want to cross train on something else? And I was like, maybe we'll see. Because at that point, I was already thinking about transitioning out. And, you know, she wrote an email and was like, oh, we appreciate you. You're such a good worker. You're amazing at what you do. And usually they don't give compliments unless they want something. And for me, I don't, you know, I wasn't rude, but I was in my head, I was thinking, I really don't need that. I know I'm good, but you want something. And I can't be like, oh, well, let me stay and just work and eventually I'll get there. Can't do that.
They was trying to Netflix and chill.
Bro, I'm trying to hey, from day one, I told her what was up from day one. From day one, she knew what it was. So you gotta put yourself first.
Hey, put yourself first. Let's go. What about you, Shalisha? Because you're actually the reason I thought of this topic. Because every week you come on and you say, well, I'm just so kind-hearted. I'm just so nice. That's just me. I have the biggest heart. And so I got a specific question for you. Question for you. So How do you get your moral compass back when somebody else has taken it from you?
Ooh. What? A little sweet cake?
I don't know how to answer that.
Baffled.
I am. That's a good one. So granted, I try to, walk with the best intentions and think of other people first before myself. But I've had to learn the hard way that some people may call it selfish, but you do, like Ty was saying, have to put yourself first. Similar situation with leaving my job. They don't even have somebody to fill my spot. Because I put in my 2 weeks, the owner of the property wants to take the property away from this management company. And I felt so bad because, my regional, she's been super stressed, even though she's been irking my last nerve. She's just been super stressed and she's a good person. She tries her hardest, but she's trying to promise something that she can't deliver, which is causing her stress. So instead of just saying she cannot deliver this and I'm the reason why I got to where it's at and now I'm leaving and everybody's upset, she's still trying to keep up that, oh, I could do it. No, you can't. It's just out of your reach. So for me, I felt bad for leaving, but I did have to put myself first. I mean, you can look at it based off of, is this the right thing or wrong thing to do? But I feel like you also have to look at, is it the right or wrong thing to do, most importantly for you? Nobody's going to have your best interest at heart for you like you do. And nobody knows what you want. Like Ty was saying, they only want something from you. So just instead of letting people take from you, start giving to yourself.
No, and that's important. And I think, more so maybe a deeper, maybe give people a deeper, here's a step-by-step or, something to get the ball rolling, put yourself in this situation. You trust a person or a business or a company or whatever, you trust them and they see oh, Shalisha's a good worker. Ty's a good worker. He likes these dogs. He's good with them. We're going to butter them up. We're going to get them to where we want to be at and we're going to get their trust. And then at some point you realize, okay, something's off. You know, like they see that I'm a good person, but I'm no longer holding my moral compass. Like I'm no longer in control of where this good behavior is going, or where, you know, my good intentions are going. They have it and they're pointing it in the right direction. And now I have to kind of just go along with it. How do you get that control back? Like, how do you get it back? Because it's easy to say, you know, like, just start doing for you and start doing this stuff. But in reality, does it work like that? Like, is it really that easy for someone who's let it get that far to begin with?
What?
Go ahead, Tati.
She itching.
Go ahead.
How? First of all, let me ask a question.
Okay.
Who here in the group thinks they're easy to jack?
What do you mean?
You let someone jack you.
Like pickpocket?
Like,
or like
just
like somebody got a gun to you? Like what extent are we talking
put the wool
to?
over your eyes, get you, steal from you, trick you. Who here thinks that they're easy to let that happen?
I don't think I am.
I don't think so.
No one thinks that, right?
No, what's cracking.
Yeah.
How do you let somebody come in,
go girl,
and hijack your moral compass? It's your moral compass. How are you gonna let somebody else tell you what your definition of right and wrong should be as a grown adult?
So I think it's not that they're saying what's right and wrong. They know what you think is right and wrong, and they'll go along with it and make it seem like they have those same values long enough to build a relationship with you. And then they'll pull back all of a sudden, and they'll kind of string you along and be like, you know, like, for instance, let's say me and Shalisha are starting a business and I don't really know her or whatever, and we're not family. And we have a conversation, we go out, we have lunch or whatever, and she's telling me all this stuff because she's more of an open person. Let's say, you know, she's talking and she's just like, yeah, I'm getting my Texas real estate license. And, you know, then I'm like, I'm getting my real estate license too, but I'm not even really getting it. I'm just saying it to get closer to her so that we can start relating more. And then slowly but surely, I'm just roping her along. And then at some point we get so close and I make her almost feel obligated to do something with me or for me. And then I kind of just pull back. And now I'm sitting here like, you know, hey, can you sign this LLC with me and we'll go half on it and do this other stuff. And then it's time to do it. And I'm like, oh, I don't have the money. And then she does it. And I'm like, I'll get you back. But I never plan on getting it back. I never plan on giving it her back. And it just keeps going and going until at some point, you don't really know where you stand with this person, but there's still that doubt in your own mind, like they wouldn't do me like that. So what I'm saying is, how do you, when you get to a point to where you trusted someone, but now you realize like, okay, they may not have the best intentions for me. How do you get that moral compass back? Because it seems like it's easy to just say, I'm done. But a lot of people struggle with this because we're human and we're emotional and we're connected with people. And that's why I thought it was a good question for Shalisha, because she talks about how emotional she is. So for me, it's hard to answer because I would never let it get to that point because I'm more closed off. But she's more open. So I'm figuring out, for someone that is vulnerable like that, that lets people in, how do you then push people out when it's time to push them out without losing who you are or losing a piece of you?
So we're talking about dealing with manipulative, lying people.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think for me, I wouldn't say my job has hijacked my moral compass. Yeah. They have more taken advantage of my good intentions and my true passion for what I do. Because I've been training dogs, you know, everything for the past, I don't know, almost 6 months or so. And I'm really good at, I'm really good at what I do. So they seen that, obviously they seen the degree and all that stuff too, but they seen that I had such a passion for it that they started to offer me these opportunities, what seemed like opportunities to me, but to them, it was added work that they didn't want to do. So I began to take on extra work that they didn't want to do, and I saw it as a challenge and an opportunity to elevate myself and get more experience. And it caused conflict because they began to drift away from what their morals and values were when I first started. So, for example, we have non-social dogs. Non-social means they can't be around large group of dogs because they haven't been socialized as much or trained or they've been in too many fights. So sometimes these non-social dogs will stay in the kennel all day. Obviously, that's very inhumane because they need to go outside. They need to be around other dogs. So I'll take those non-social dogs and bring them into group. I'll teach them how to be around groups, how to calm the anxiety, the fear down, all those things. But today we had a situation where this dog comes in. I have a great relationship with the dog, and he soiled all over his kennel. And I told them, I said, it's because y'all leave him in there the entire day. I said, his owner is paying $150 a week probably just for him to be here, and y'all keep him in the kennel. Y'all not taking him outside. I have to take him outside. And if I don't take him outside, nobody takes him outside. I can't keep bending over backwards because y'all aren't having that sense of urgency when it comes to these dogs. And something my professor said was that just because you have a dog doesn't mean you know your dog. And it's the same thing with these people. Just because they work at a place that deals with animals does not mean they know the animal. I've done more work in the short amount of time I've been there than people who have been there for 3, 4, 5 years. I've worked with non-social dogs that they just could not get to just snap out of it. Or siblings, because sometimes siblings, they wrestle a lot and very roughly. Right. I had that group of them today in group with me, and they were just like in awe because they just don't put the time in and effort into it. So that's why it's a problem. But they try to put all the extra stuff on me. So now it's more of like, okay, now I'm standing up for myself. Hey, this is wrong. I'm not down with this. Y'all need to fix it, or we're going to have some more problems. Or I have somebody in the front trying to micromanage what I'm doing back here. This is my area. You stay in your area. I stay in mine. Don't try to come back and micromanage what I've been doing and what I have built. Because without me, you guys wouldn't be where you're at right now. We have probably 80 plus dogs that come to my work almost every day. And I think if it wasn't for me coming in at the time I did, they wouldn't be at 80 plus dogs.
I have a question. I thought this whole time that you worked at a shelter. Is this actually one of those doggy hotels where people drop their dog off for some set period of time and then they come back and pick them up?
It's a whole resort. So we do grooming, we do boarding, daycare, we do training, and then everything else in between, feed, medicine, walk.
I want to go. I need walk.
Everything.
I need groom.
You a dog? I need groom.
Okay. We do it all. So, and it's not, like I said, I don't think it's they jack the more compass. It's more just they try to take advantage of my true intentions. And that's why I said I'm at my limit now, to where I've already completed what I set out to complete and already reached my limits because it's a system. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'm going to be able to elevate to the highest point in the system. They let me get to the highest point that I could. Because now I'm outshining people who have been there for 5+ years, and there's a lot.
Master 48 laws of power.
Exactly. So now there's beef.
So you out here? So they're out here with these dogs, right? And you're doing a good job, but these people out when you're not present, they're leaving these dogs in their kennels. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing as far as taking care of them goes, and people are trusting them with their companions.
Possibly the dogs that are non-social, they're probably leaving them in the kennel one day. Like we have a dog, a Catahoula dog named Khaleesi.
Yeah.
Most wonderful, sweet dog, wonderful, but she has anxiety. So when she leaves her owner, goes into a group, there's almost 50, 60 plus big dogs in a group, and we're all outside. So like she's coming in freaking out, and then she don't like dogs in her face. So I've brought her in a group a few times, teaching her, hey, no, you can't do this, all that stuff. And now she can be in group. But she's in group with me, but with the other people, she may not be in group because they don't want to deal with the quote unquote aggressiveness. They don't want to understand the dog. So that's where the problem comes in, because people say they work with animals. They're at the job because they want to say that they work with animals. They want to have that image that they're actually doing something good, I guess you could say.
I just want to say to you that, you know, I think it is good that you walk away from this. You can't save them all. And honestly, resort places all across the country, across the world. Yeah. And it's the same situation. The dogs aren't being treated well. You're behind closed doors. And it's not just with animals too. It's even with people, you know, like this happens in nursing homes. This happens all over the place. It's just, no matter where you go, there's always going to be some people not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and whoever they're supposed to be taking care of, whether it's an animal or an elder or somebody, is just, you can't save them all. And sometimes you just got to walk away from these places, because if it's happening in one spot, best believe it's happening at the one across town and the one in the next city and the one in the next state. And it's just all over the place, man. It's just, some of these people, they ain't should be doing what they're doing. Somebody started a business, I think is what happened. Somebody who really did have a passion. And, you know, you just hire people and, you know, you're trying to do the same sort of thing that we're talking about with entrepreneurship, but it's just some industries you really have to have more of a hand in. You know, if you're trying to do that residual income thing, you got to be careful what you get involved in, because some of these businesses, if you had the passion for it, you really have to maintain involvement to a certain extent, because you start handing these things off to managers and employees and things can get, you know, out of hand. And there's just certain things where you have to be involved, because you're really dealing with life here, and you can't just leave that in any old group of people's hands, because you don't know what they're doing behind closed doors. You know, it's hard to trust these groups and these people.
That was the biggest letdown for me, is that the actual owner, she has a master's in social work. So my expectations were, or my standards were really high, because I'm like, okay, well, we're similar. You know, we had the same passions. Like, I'm thinking this is going to be legit, but that's where I almost put my moral compass into it. But then I took it out after I started to see how things really worked. So they just tried to take advantage of my intentions. And I mean, that just happens. Like, I'm just a hard worker. I put my head down and I do what I need to do. But my passion fueled me through that. But they didn't really take advantage of me at the end of the day. I did the work for them, but I'm the one that got the better end of the deal, because I got the experience and I did what I needed to do, and now I'm out of here.
Yeah, and I think that it's important too that, you know, a lot of people have a difficult time getting that moral compass back, or just that compass in general, to where they still remember who they are, you know. And I think it just comes down to this basic human notion that, you know, when someone does something for someone, I think that there's this unspoken thing of they want something back for it. You know, like I remember having a conversation with my grandpa one time, and he said, never let somebody give you gas money, because then they're going to want you to take them put more places than they had originally told you. If they give you $10 for gas, now it's not, can you just drop me off at home? It's, can we go to the store on the way there? And then if you say no, it's like, well, I gave you gas money, you know? So some people will, and she like, I want that gas money. some people will disguise $10 in gas and already know that they want to go to that extra place, but just tell you that they want to go home. And they'll try to rope you along with that initial, you know, $10 so that they can get more out of you. And I think that's what people do with that moral compass too, is they give you something initially, they give you a position at this job, they give you a position in their life, and then they have these other intentions that you're unaware of. And so when you discover what those intentions are, I think there's a phase where it's like, I don't know if I'm tripping or not, which is why I was thinking of this other question as well. And I wanted your guys' opinion on this is, do you guys think that people use morality as an excuse to let people disrespect them?
What?
Hell
I would say yes.
Like, and what I mean by that for our listeners is, if for instance, someone is doing something to me, and like I was saying earlier, I just say, well, I don't want to do anything back because I'm this nice person, I'm this kind person. And, you know, I just don't want to I just don't want to stoop to their level. So I'm just going to keep taking it. Do you, for those listening, because I think, you know, all of us except Tatiana, she seemed like she's still trying to get it. Do you think that, you know, and there goes the camera. Do you think right and wrong is sometimes used as an excuse to let people disrespect you? You guys said yes. Yeah. So what do you mean by that?
I mean, you don't have to take it. Like, you don't have to tolerate it. It's not something you have to allow. Even if you're like, oh, I don't want to stoop to their level, or you want to be the bigger person. Sometimes being the bigger person is not giving a response, but also not taking the BS.
So are you fake if you put up with it so far and then you decide you don't want to no more? Does that make you fake? Or
I wouldn't say it makes you fake. I feel like you just reach your breaking point. Like, everybody has that moment to where enough is enough. Like, you know, you tried to take it, but taking it is also hindering you. So I feel like at that point you come to a realization that you got to draw the line in the sand. Some people may find that realization sooner than others, but I feel like you finally drawing that line is you standing up for yourself.
So were they fake for doing it, or were you just naive for not noticing it?
You were naive for not noticing it. And some people notice it and still put up with it. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't necessarily call it fake. It's your strengths and weaknesses. So if you take it and you know it's not right, then you need to improve your strengths and be able to walk away and know that walking away does not make you a bad person.
I like that. That's nice. I say, yeah. People at my job, especially people, we have a lot of people. Well, I wouldn't say a lot of people of color, but we have people of color that sit there and let a lot of stuff slide. They just like kind of take it on the chin and move on. For me, I don't necessarily let it slide, but I don't automatically pop off. I try to address it in the same way that they do, and that may be petty. It may not be the best, quote unquote, to certain people, but I tried to. Petty. I was petty today, bro. I gotta tell you about that. I tried my best to have that conversation before it escalates to a whole nother level, and then I start talking a certain way and getting active. You know what I'm saying? So I don't wait until it's built up so much, and then I like I'm like a dragon. I just spit fire to everybody. I let them know right on the spot. Check this out. You're not gonna talk to me like that. I'm a human being. First of all, I'm an adult. I don't care if we're in a professional setting or not. You're not gonna treat me like I'm just some replaceable kid that's 16 looking for a job. You gonna respect me. You gonna show me respect. You ain't gotta like me. You can hate me all you want, but you gonna show me respect when you walk in this building. Because if not, we gonna have a problem. So automatically, I usually put my head down and I chill. But then when it gets to that point, it's like, okay, now y'all finna see a different person.
No, I feel that. And I think it's important, you know, I think people discount preventative conversations and, you know, just preventative work in general. And I think that there's more hype put into the big blow up, you know, as opposed to addressing something head on, because we don't want to be the person that's wrong about someone. We don't want to be the person that, you know, says, you know, I think you're doing this, and then they say they're not, and then there's that conflict to begin with. So I think the reason that I really wanted to talk about this, and we have a few more minutes, but it was just because I see a lot of people get taken advantage of under the guise of doing what they say is right. Like, again, using that excuse of I'm just trying to be a good person, so therefore I don't want to stick up for myself, or I don't want to say something that someone doesn't like, and they end up getting, you know, pushed in the corner and unhappy a lot of times. And it's just so important that anybody's trying to start a business, go out there on their own venture, anything like that, like, you're gonna have to ruffle some feathers. You're gonna have to say some things that people don't like. You're gonna have to stand up for yourself. And mainly, you're going to have to stand up to you. You're going to have to be your own biggest critic. You're going to have to take the moral compass from yourself and give it to the new version of you. And I think that's where people struggle at a lot, is not even with other people, but with themselves, and trying to figure out what's right for themselves, because a lot of people just get messed over because they don't have a sense of right and wrong and values and what they're standing for before they go into a situation. And then someone pushes them to the limit to where they find out in that situation and they're just not prepared. Like they showed up to class with no pencil and it's test day, so if you guys could give, just a few practical pieces of advice for somebody struggling with this, let us know what would you do, like someone's coming to you and they're saying, look, I'm in this situation now where I feel like I'm getting taken advantage of, or I'm just in a place in life where people don't respect me. I'm not getting the things that I want. And I really feel like people are trying to take advantage of me because of my kind heart. What do you tell them?
Go ahead, Tati, then I'll go next. Yeah, because you was itching.
Pop off your shoulders.
Right.
Let me just say, I don't know, it sound like we're going into the next thing here, but I did have something to add. I don't think I was disagreeing with you, but then you threw in, may not be naivety, maybe you do notice and you're just choosing not to do anything. I think it's important that we pick and choose our battles. I think that is the wisest decision. Some battles aren't worth the fight. Some things aren't worth the energy. If I'm driving down the interstate and somebody is tailgating me, I don't think that's worth the energy. If anything, I might slow down to encourage them to go around me, or just let them know I'm not going to speed up. If you're really trying to get somewhere, I'm not trying to be in your way. I'm going straight. You're going straight. Merge, do something, go, just leave me alone. There's no reason for me to slam on my brakes and start trying to brake check somebody. There's no reason for me to flick them off when they pass by. There's no reason for me to try and cut them off when they're trying to pass me. That's a bunch of extra, there's just some things that aren't worth the fight. If you're a child and you're in a household where you're being kind of thumbed down, and people aren't really respecting you because of age or however they feel towards you, that might not be the wisest battle, because you aren't, because of labor laws, because of different things and all the hoops you would have to jump through in order to support yourself. And then once you get to that point, you're not going to be able to find the most high paying job out there unless you have some sort of background in entrepreneurship, or you've been studying, or you came across somebody that puts you on game and ways to make money like that, without needing a high school diploma even. Then you may be in a situation where you got to think on your feet. You improvise, you got to deal with this until you get to a better position, so some battles you have to pick and choose. You don't just fight everything that comes your way. And I don't know. Now I'm lost. Wait a minute.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying. I definitely think you need to pick and choose your battles. But I think when it comes to your values and what you value as right and wrong, it's no longer a battle. It's a war, because, a battle is like, hey, you stepped on my shoe, all right, I'm gonna let that slide. But a war is like, you're trying to take the shoes off my feet now and run off with them. Like, now there's a war. And I feel like so many people
stealing your shoes.
Yeah, now you're stealing my shoes. It's not just you stepped on them. Now you're trying to take my shoes off, and now I don't have anything to wear. And it's like, at what point do you say enough is enough? And that's why I was talking about that preventative stuff. Yeah, if you're a child or something like that, there's a little more understanding. But as an adult, I just feel like there's a lot of people that are trapped because they've never come to grips with the fact that they have the power to choose what they're willing to stand for and what they're not willing to stand for. And when someone has that moral compass of theirs, it can be difficult to get back. And so maybe I'll kick off with the practical advice, right? Because I think it's important that we don't just talk about it. We give people something to work with. So go ahead.
Before we give the practical advice, can we restate the original question that we were all answering?
So I think the original question, I mean, there were so many, I don't know.
Audience.
I don't know which original question there was, because it was
the practical piece of advice. That was the question.
No, before that one, when we were all saying right and wrong, and
I think the question was just, you know, do people use morality as an excuse to be disrespected?
There we go. Okay.
And that's pretty much, you know, that's pretty like, yeah, if you're a kid, I get it. You're not really in a position to do anything. But as an adult, I think that, like I said, a lot of people are trapped.
Yeah, but they trap themselves.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. Let's help people. Let's give people, and maybe you could kick it off, Shalisha, not to cut you off, but let's give people, you know, a few practical pieces of advice before we get out of here, where it's like they can take this right now. If they're in that situation where they're like, they got my moral compass, I need it back. How do we help them get that back? How do we help them?
You have to be secure in yourself. I mean, people only treat you the way that you allow them to treat you. So if you are trapped, as Robert was saying, you let yourself be trapped. So you just have to take it back. You have to be secure in yourself and what you stand for and what you want. And don't waver on it. Just stand strong, because if you can't expect somebody to respect you if you're not respecting yourself.
So how do they do that? How do they?
You have to be secure and confident in yourself. You have to do some self-reflecting to see why it is you are allowing these things to take place. If this isn't something you would normally allow for yourself, why are you doing it? Is it because it's somebody you care about or somebody close to you? Whatever the case is, you have to figure out why, because there's always a why. And then once you figure out that why, you have to take the next steps of reevaluating and figure out how you're going to cut that loss. But it's not a loss, it's a gain for you.
I think you said something important in which I would challenge you on, because you said, is this something that I normally allow? And I think that upon deeper reflection, it most likely is something that they normally allow. It's just a different situation that they're not connecting with the current situation. So if you allowed yourself to be trapped in this situation, really think about other situations where it's not exactly the same, but there's this constant pattern that you keep coming across where it just seems like over here at work, you're not getting respected, or, you know, like people are taking advantage of you and stuff like that, and you feel trapped. And the relationship you have with your parents or your significant other or in school or all these different areas, what does that look like? Like, look at the context of your life and really see, is this something that you actually normally allow? And then, you know, like, then maybe it'll hit you differently if it's like not just this isolated situation.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think people need to come to a clear understanding of what their morals and ethics are, because I feel like a lot of people just go off of society's rights and wrongs and do's and don'ts, and you don't have to follow society's.
Which are very vague, by the way. They're not tailored for you.
They're not. It's based off of your personal self. So just trust in yourself and know that whatever you're choosing to do is the right thing for you. You got to trust in yourself. That's the biggest thing in every aspect of every life. Trust in yourself.
All right, Dog Whisperer, what you got to say?
This guy, trapped in a situation like that. I would say probably reestablish your foundation.
Okay.
Yeah,
right, that's a new word. You gonna make a meme about it in the dictionary? Like you did with the salty?
Hey, bro.
We're gonna put that in a meme. I feel like that deserves a meme. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna make a video of Ty saying that. Reestablish. It's gonna pause.
But you gotta include like the stutter too, like him trying to figure out what the hell he just said, because he didn't even know.
Have you guys seen that meme with the basketball player where they say something and he's just like, and there's the question marks? I'm gonna put it next to that one. It's like reestablish, and then it's gonna be like question
with a question mark.
Hey, bro, I blame it on the Florida accent. Reestablish. Look, you already cussing. You made it. You almost made it through the whole podcast, right? You already cussed. Jesus.
I mean, take ownership, and I wouldn't have to. I'm just saying.
Reestablish your foundation in your environment, and have a conversation with the people you need to have a conversation with. And if it goes good, you follow through with it. give it 2 weeks, however long you want to give it. If it doesn't go the way you want to, then you need to reevaluate if you need to be there or be somewhere else. Don't waste time. Go ahead.
So you said reestablish the foundation that you have, but would you rebuild the house with wood and stuff and material that just failed, like that just broke down?
I think sometimes when I say reestablish, I think sometimes people forget who you are and they overlook you. You got to make your presence known. So if we're passing by houses and I got the biggest house on the block, but you see another house because it got a pool, I have to let you know that I own all of that. I run things on this block. My house is the biggest house on here. Okay. So if you're in a situation with these people, you have to let them know, like, you don't even bring the house. You own the building. You put the building there. Okay. You have to let them know what it is in a professional way. And let them know what you bring. You the one that provided the table for them to even come and talk to you. So you got to assert your dominance sometimes. And if they ain't with it, you don't need to be there. Go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated.
So is that an option or is that a necessity, you think?
A little bit of both. I think there's a balance.
Okay. So do you think it's better to let it be known up front or somewhere in the middle?
For me personally, up front, I think it's best to be intentional about what you're doing, truthful. That way, when it comes to a situation like that, you can say, I already told you at the beginning, this is what it was going to be about. This is who I am. And you accepted it there. So you need to accept what comes with it down the road. And if they can't, then you have a reason to act out of character. I already told you. You listened. You accepted it. You're an adult. You thought about it. You understood what it was going to be. And then we get down the road and you try some of this slick, shady stuff. We're going to have an issue then. And now I have to address you in a different way. That's not formal. Now I got to be informal and snap you back into reality because obviously you have lost your mind thinking that you're going to step on me like I'm just mud outside.
And I see that in a lot with relationships too. And I know that you've used this maneuver where it's like up front, you may tell somebody something like, maybe you're talking to a girl or whatever, and you're just like, yeah, I'm not really looking for a relationship. I just kind of want to just be friends. And then, maybe you act like you want a relationship, but you don't say it. You can always come back to that in the beginning and say, well, I told you in the beginning. Yeah. So sometimes what you say, though, may not align with what you're doing. And I think that's the trap. Like, I don't think anybody walks into these situations like, take advantage of me. Here, come do this to me, steal from me, rob from me, whatever. I think sometimes people may say it, but they don't say it. Like they don't. Like me and Tati talk about this a lot because I think she has a personality to where she says something, but people don't feel her. And I be telling her sometimes, like, you said it, but they don't feel you. Like there's a difference. Like there's a difference when you feel somebody's presence, like when they say something, they mean it. And then there's some people, they say it and it's like, is this a recommendation? Like you ever go to a restaurant and they're like, no, you have to try this. And then there's some people you go and they're just like, this is kind of good. I'm willing to eat the thing. This person, like, no hesitation, eat this. I don't know what it is. I ain't never tried it, but I'm probably willing to eat that more than the person that's just kind of like, I would probably go with the popcorn chicken. No, I don't. Let me see what else is on the menu. I'm not willing to, you said it, but I'm not willing to ride along with it because your actions, they're not really lining up with what you're saying. Like, I don't feel you. So how can we help people? And, this is just a question to think about. How can we help people feel us when we say something? Like, because we'll say it, but people don't feel us. How can we help people get felt? And not like that, but how can we help people give that presence to where they say it and people know that they mean it without being rude, without being whatever, but just, like, working with you. And I think, to give my practical piece of advice, I think that one, it's important to, like Ty was saying, establish your foundation, establish who you are up front. And again, bring that presence, like let people know in a respectful way, this is what I stand for. This is what I don't stand for. I'm cool with you. If you're cool with me, if you rock with this, I rock with this, if not, no foul, you do you, but I just don't want to be a part of that. And if at any moment I sense that that's happening, like, then we just have to part ways, and that's that. It's nothing personal. And I think addressing people in that way, like where you're not really attacking them, you're just letting them know about you. You're not saying anything about them. You're just telling them about you. And so I think one, establish who you are with that foundation. Well, actually, no. I take that back. Figure out your foundation, like do that soul search and do that reflective things. That I have resources. If you want to hit me up with the email, robertalec93@gmail.com. Hit me up. I can send you some resources and stuff like robertalec93@gmail.com. I can send you some resources. We get you taken care of with the coach and all that stuff. Make sure you like and subscribe. But anyways, we really have to establish that foundation and do that soul searching, that reflective, just deep thinking. This is a process, and it takes time. It's normal, but those are the two main things I feel like your foundation and just constantly reflecting, fine-tuning things to the point to where you have the confidence to let people know who you are, because that's a large part of it. Is you're not confident in who you are, and so you want someone else to bring the confidence to the table, and you just want to bring whatever they're not bringing to the table. You need to bring you to the table and let them make a decision. So many people are trying to bring somebody else to the table, hoping that somebody else can stay there long enough for them to introduce the real self, but it doesn't work like that, because you're gonna end up losing. You're gonna end up unhappy. You're gonna end up getting taken advantage of. That's my practical piece of advice.
Let's jump back to the actions thing. I want to say a little piece before we leave.
Y'all skipping Tati.
Well, we're gonna jump at Tati, but he brought up a point, and I just wanted to address it real quick. It's not on you to, like, if I have a conversation with somebody and I'm really raw, real, whatever, and I tell them straight up, like, this is what it's gonna be, la da 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 da, and my actions match up with my words, but they feel like
that conversation with me. What does that look like? Have that conversation with me right now.
What you mean? What it look like?
How would that go? like start it off. Let's give him like a 1 minute.
So for example, if I didn't want a relationship with somebody, and I met a girl, and she was like, all right, I understand. I don't want nothing either. I'm just hanging out. So we start hanging out. We hang out every day. We going on dates. We doing stuff. We getting intimate and physical, emotionally, mental, all that stuff. But then I feel but then I'm like, I'm going in another direction, and you get upset. Yeah. It's a problem, because we're doing all these things, and I told you from the get-go, I didn't want this. This is how I'm gonna act. La da 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 da. And you perceive my actions differently because you wanted to change them. That's not on me. My actions are always gonna match up with my words. But if you have other intentions and saying, oh, I think I can change his mind so his actions will go the way I want to, you're going to fail. Because if I tell you from the get-go, this is what's going to be, this is what's going to be. Unless I feel a different type of way. And then we have another conversation. But if we doing that, that's what we're doing. I'm going with the flow, you going with the flow. Whatever happens on your side is on your side. What happens on mine is on mine. We still separate individuals. We haven't come together as one. So if you got feelings and all that, we can have a conversation, figure out where to go next. If it's a thing, if not, I have to go your way, I'm gonna have to go my way. You can't get mad at the end of the day. This is what you signed up for. I told you what it was gonna be. That's what it's gonna be.
I feel it. Like I said, if the actions don't line up from the beginning, it can be hard to tell whether you were just saying that because you don't want to let your guard down or something like that. Or, you know, like some people, they say stuff, but then they change their mind, but they don't know how to articulate it. Or, you know, like people, like actions speak louder than words to a lot of people. So if you say something, they may think something's changed. You know, they may think something's changed. It's just like if you're at a job and they're paying you $12 an hour, and then in 3 months you just start getting 14 out of nowhere, then you think you're making 14. But then in 3 checks, if they take it back to 12, no doubt in my mind, you're going to be like, what happened to my $14? Y'all was giving me it. Now you're not. What does this mean? You know, like, so I think if your actions don't align with your words, then people can get hurt at the least. I think people can get hurt, and there's definitely room to say, you know,
there's room for gray areas.
Yeah, there's a lot of gray area. And so we do it to other people, but we may not want it done to ourselves. And so, yeah, but I definitely, maybe we can have a deeper discussion on this one. 1 week is definitely an interesting topic. What do you got to say, Tati?
Can I get a recap on the original question?
Practical pieces, just a few practical pieces of advice to help somebody who may be getting taken advantage of because of their kind heart.
Okay. So this is something I've dealt with personally. As we go on with the podcast, I might divulge more information. But, you know, we're going to keep a little service level at this point. But
that's not how we do it on the podcast. We wear it on our sleeves.
Man,
she talking about Fitz.
I
don't know what she talking about.
Robert be wanting you to lay it out all on the line. Just lay out all your business. He wants you to get personal. So go ahead, girl, get personal.
Look,
you going to knock this over.
Look, this is something I've dealt with personally.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the focus right now. I need to come on now. So
go ahead, girl.
Look, people. I think I can recall what people have been saying, and you know, it's all good and dandy, but in my personal experience, none of those things really worked for me. I think the real practical advice that I would give to you is to focus on what it is about the situation that upsets you and why you feel you're being wronged. Because if you're not sure about that, I think that's where the insecurity came from for me, because being a nicer person, you want to help people, but you also don't want to be taken advantage of. And so I think where the struggle comes in is not being sure of whether or not, you know, you're right in the way you feel and your feelings are justified, or if you're blowing it up and you should help this person and you're blowing it out of proportion, or you're not. It's just, I think that's just where the uncertainty and the insecurity lies. And so I think I guess that is in a way reflection, but it's reflection on a different thing. You're reflecting and focusing on what is it about on the negative feelings that are being born from what's happening to you and whatever you're going through, and why it makes you feel the way it makes you feel. Because being sure about that, it disallows any sort of taking advantage of from that point, because through that frustration, once you become certain in what it is that is upsetting you, and you are sure that you are not just simply blowing it out of proportion, but you are, you know, thinking from a level-headed place that something wrong really is happening and you are being taken advantage of. Once you remove all doubt from that, there shouldn't be any more issues from there. And the next step is to simply channel that frustration, and at the next opportunity, use that to stand up for yourself, because anger is a very powerful emotion. And if you channel it correctly, there's nothing that should get in your way. There's nothing that can stop you from getting what you need, getting what you want.
But I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
I have a question for you. So no, just because she says
what?
No, right. Evil, there's no evil, nothing. I got a question for you. You said insecurities in the way that you felt. Correct? Did I hear that correctly? Like you want to make sure you're not blowing it out of proportion, or like,
and
okay.
Let me make sure that's clear. When I say insecurities in the way you feel, I mean, what I mean is,
okay.
What I mean is, you may not be sure if you're being mean by not doing what this person wants you to do, or if you are being reasonable in not doing what this person wants you to do. And that's what I mean by the insecurity.
Okay, so I have another question.
Okay.
If the thing that this person wants you to do or doesn't want you to do doesn't align with what you want for yourself, you're not in charge of if they perceive it as you being mean. You're just in charge of making sure you take care of yourself.
No, forget their perception.
Okay.
Your perception. Like my personal perception of whether, no, I'm not even worried about them because I can't.
So you felt like you were being mean?
I wasn't sure. And that's what I mean by the insecurities. Like, am I being mean, or am I, doing something to this person unnecessarily by not helping them in the ways they're requesting me to help them?
And I think that's
what does them helping you hinder you? Does it, would the task that you were to do, if you were to help them, would that task been hindering you or benefiting you? Would it align with what your personal values are for yourself or what you allow for yourself? Because if it doesn't align with that, then you're not being mean. That just means you have a too caring heart and you're more concerned with how the other person's going to feel by you not helping them. But you can't really be concerned, and if they're going to be upset about you not helping them, you need to be concerned about how you helping them and what it's going to do to you. Because they're not concerned. More than likely, they know that whatever task they wanted you to do, if it wasn't to benefit you and the things that you allow for yourself, they know that. So they don't care that, am I still being heard? My headphones are tripping. But they don't care that it's not gonna benefit you. But you have to care. You have to be strong with what you allow and what you don't allow. And you have to separate that emotion from, okay, I feel bad, even though this is right for me, I still feel bad. You shouldn't feel bad. You have to put you first. So it's not really, you have to be more secure within yourself to know that this person may suffer because I'm not helping them or I'm not giving them whatever it is that they wanted, but you're not going to suffer.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page. I think we're saying the same thing. The security part is what it's where that insecurity is where the focal point of that insecurity is, that the issue is really being born from that. That's what I mean when I say that.
Well, when you said it, I was just asking because I needed a little bit of clarity, because I thought you were saying that you may have felt bad because you chose to do what was right for you. So in turn, you did what wasn't right for you because you felt bad. That would be somebody taking your moral compass, and you got to go ahead and snatch that back, because that's not how it works.
How do you snatch it back?
I see what you're saying.
You have to be secure in what you allow for yourself. If you got to get a little, I mean, it depends. It depends. Sometimes, you got to be a little bit aggressive, and you got to snatch it and give somebody a paper cut. Sometimes.
Subscribe.
Yeah, we do gotta go. We do gotta go. But we will.
If you need to talk, we could talk.
We will have a deeper conversation on this. I think it could be another topic, about maybe just personality traits and how different personalities mix and stuff like that. But make sure you go subscribe, comment, like, all that great stuff. From the Bottom podcast. We out.
Support.
From the bottom.